Hi everybody, I just thought I'd take you for a little wander around the garden. It's one of those days when the weather's a bit iffy, shall we say. It keeps looking like rain, but it doesn't actually rain. I'll start off here at the top of the garden. This particular cherry tree is it's a snake bark maple, so it's got peeling bark, and it's quite, if you do peel it, you can actually polish the bark, and it looks really shiny, but I don't think anybody's gonna bother polishing the bark. But this is quite a pretty looking thing. Got a few trees here that are starting to come into flower. A little cherry there, it's a wild cherry tree, that it's called a bird cherry. It's a bit untidy at the bottom of it, but it's nice and pretty this time of the year, and it usually does have quite a lot of cherries on that the birds enjoy. So as I say, that's a wild cherry. In front of me now we've got a huge amount of dwarf bamboo, no less. Been planted it's been growing there about 30 years now. No, it's not. It's been planted about 20 something years, and has grown like bamboo grows. Be careful if you do ever plant bamboo, because it is apt to grow like stink, shall we say. The hedgerows are looking pretty at the moment. We've got blackthorn and hawthorn. That's a hawthorn tree there. That will have nice pinky flowers on it soon, so that's good. This is where we come round with the mower, so you have to dodge a few branches here and there, but that's okay. So this garden is predominantly big stuff. It's bushes and trees that have been planted here for quite a while. The big cherry tree there in the middle is not quite as pretty as it normally is. It's been such a dry spring that the blossom hasn't really shown its best side, shall we say. Not like last year. It was absolutely tremendous, and we had some lovely photos of it last year, but this year it's not quite so pretty, but pretty nonetheless. So that's in full glory at the moment. So as we go down, there's a little seat in there, which is what do we call it now, a little century box, which has also been in the garden for 20 odd years. So it's had a new seat in it a couple of years ago, but it's full of ivy now. It's sort of very overgrown. This little cherry tree here was cut back because it wasn't very well a few years ago, and we thought that was it, but it's actually, grown again. So again, that could perhaps do with a little trim back. There's Bob's oak tree, doing okay. That's always late, so it's got its little buds on, and it'll open up very soon, but it's growing well and doing well, so that's good. And then we go down. As we go down, there's another little pretty red bush. For the life of me, can't remember what it's called, but there we are. These are Elaeagnus on the right hand side. I can they have just, that's a dog. That's Lola. Say hello, Lola. Lola, hello. So yeah, the Elaeagnus again could do with a bit of trim back, but that has beautiful flowers on it, and when it does, it's really highly scented, so it's lovely to walk down here sometimes and you think, oh, what's that perfume, and then you realise the Elaeagnus is in flower. So a lot of the trees in our garden have been planted to commemorate a dog or a person. I won't go through them all now, but that one was for a dog. That was for Tess, that we used to have a few years ago, a flat coat retriever, so we planted that with Tess's ashes there. So we've done that at quite a few things, a few places in the garden. This is a white beam, which is quite a common average tree, but when it gets its new leaves on it, which it is now, it's really pretty, and the leaves really stand out from a distance. They're sort of greeny, silvery, whitey. So they're really pretty when they're nice and fresh. Rhododendron, that's been there for a long time, and is going over now, but that never disappoints. It's a very pretty bush down here. The soil must be nice and acid, so it's quite happy down here. We've got various different things here in the corner. This is very wild here now, and we deliberately leave it wild for the insects and everything else. So there's another big tree there, and we've got bushes and that. Now this little corner is where the fox comes through every day, so you know, we can't really stop him from coming through. This big cedar is the cedar of Lebanon, and is quite a whopper. I'm just going to go around to the other side of it. It's a beautiful tree, but we're thinking of cutting off some of the bottom leaves, because some of the bottom branches, because it's very difficult to get through that gap with the lawnmower. I can't remember what that one is. Again, I bought that for the bark, but the bark isn't looking that marvellous on it. But that's another. It's quite a pretty tree when it's in flower, and that will be in flower in a little while. It's got little white flowers that are just coming out now, so it's got a bit of year-round interest. I liked to plant the trees in the garden. A lot of them have been planted for quite a long time. That's the one of the dwarf conifers, which always makes me laugh. And that's another one, and that's another one. So the hydrangea here has done really well. I've just cut it back, and because the weather has been so cold and dry, I've not really cut it back hard, but I need to cut it back hard because it's gone a bit spiky and that. And if you can see in there, it's got lots of lush new young growth, which is quite normal. They all do that, but normally you'd cut out some of the old growth. Well, I've not gone mad on it because I don't want to shock it. It's a bit of a long way down here to water it, so I'm just taking the tops off and let that do its thing this year, and then next year I'll cut it hard back. So that's the conifers in the middle, and that's looking up the garden from the bottom. So we've got down here, that's not the tractor, by the way, because that would be far too small. That's one of the little children we had visiting last weekend has left it there. So we need to take that back up to the top. There's another little seat there that's been there for a long time, and a big lot of bamboo, and the young weeping willow that we planted last September. Bonfire needs lighting. And then up here we have a massive bay tree in the middle, which again is just coming into flower, and then the Photinia red robin with its new red leaves. So that's quite pretty. Let's view up the gap of the garden. That bush that's directly in front of me is a viburnum, and that's a wedding cake. Wedding cake bush, its common name is. I bought it to replace Viburnum marisi, which got overgrown with bramble at another part of the garden, so and it got sort of strangled, so I bought that one about 4 years ago, and that's the result, and it's coming into flower now. And the bigger that gets, the better it will look, basically. Around this corner we've got a prickly berberis, and the berberis Atripurpurea, That again has got little pretty flowers on. It's got savage spikes though, so when you drive past that on the lawnmower you've got to be careful of your legs. But again, with that one you can actually chop it back to the ground and it will grow quite happily again. Elaeagnus, that's a variegated Elaeagnus, and again a bit of a look of the bay tree. Yes, the bay tree. So I've got a couple of young fruit trees here. These were like, they were 2 for 15 quid I think from Tesco a couple of years ago. They've never really taken off, but this year at least they've got a bit of blossom on them, and I can't even remember what they were. I think one's a pear and one might be a plum. I bought 4, but I think 2 of them died. I think the apples died, so I've got a feeling that we got a pear and a plum here, but I wouldn't actually swear to it. So we'll have to see. I've got the little bridge here. Once upon a time we had a pond at the top, which I think I've told you before is now a potato bed, and the rill came down here and it's still there. So this bamboo really is, in effect, it's on a bit of an island, which is pretty good because that keeps it under control. This is the pampas grass. Normally with a pampas grass you have to burn them back, so I've not actually got the courage to do it myself, but we did try and set fire to it about 5 years ago, and you would think it would actually go up quite well, but it doesn't. It takes ages, and it was a bit of a non we ended up chopping it back in the end, but that could do with a bit of attention. So we've got different bamboos there, green bamboos, black bamboos, and we can cut those and use them in other parts of the garden. So I'll just show you the view of the old pond. So that's the old pond, which has now been planted with potatoes, but it's got loads of dock leaves coming through beautifully. I can't see the sign of any potatoes yet, but I have not watered it at all. So the potatoes have been in for about 3 weeks, and there's no sign until it starts to rain. I don't think we'll see much sign of those. So that's the bottom garden, and oh look, we've got some chickens the other side of the paddock. So down here I've got the new veg beds, which I've started to plant, but I've not got a great deal in them yet because I'm just waiting for the weather really. So there's the little chickens and one cockerel. They're coming for a wander round. We let them out every day so they can go where they want to go. So basically I can't wait to plant these properly. I've got a couple of apple trees that I've planted against the fence. So, and I'm going to make some hanging baskets, some wall baskets to go on the fence. I planted some peas there. The broad beans are in further down, and I've also sown some seeds a few weeks ago, so there's various seeds down there, and one of the beds I'm going to give over to flowers, so but it's it's still a bit too cold for that. So that's a little bit of a wander around the garden. I'll show you a bit more of the patio garden on a different video. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.